Good evening, everyone. How are you doing? I'm sorry. I hope you had a wonderful day today. I hope it's been a blessed day. I hope you're getting ready to get prepared to go to bed. And I thank you for joining me at Transformations Late Night Chronicles with Pam. It has been a wonderful day today. I want to say exhausting day, but it's been a busy day today. And so I am glad to see you all this evening. I am glad to see you all joining in and staying with me here at Transformation Late Night Chronicles with Pam. There's a lot I want to talk about this evening. I don't know. This is kind of like a hot topic kind of day. I am kind of in between some things to talk about tonight, so I'm going to go ahead on with it, and then I'll get into the topic that I have. One of the things I did want to talk about today is as I always tell you guys, I had this wonderful conversation with my sons today, and we were I don't know why my boys love sports, so the TV is constantly on ESPN. So I'm happening to sit there and I'm studying for tonight and getting stuff prepared. I'm sitting there watching ESPN First Take with Stephen A. Smith and the other guy, Max. So they were having this conversation, and they were talking about the NBA in this one and done thing and something else. They're trying to change it from what I got out of it. I don't know much about, I don't stay in the sports as much, but unless I'm sitting with my sons. And so we got to talking, and my oldest son, he's a sports fanatic. He started to explain to me what it was. So we were talking and we had a wonderful conversation. So I think I put a post out in reference to should high school basketball players be able to be drafted right straight from high school to the NBA. And on the post, I got a lot of response, which was wonderful because, I always say everybody has their own opinion about things, but it's kind of, it's good to see people's response and how people feel about things that are going on in the world. And it just caught my attention because and I told my sons, I said, I guess it depends. It's one of those things that depends on the situation of the people and depend on what's going on in the lifestyle. A lot of young people are coming straight out of high school. They're used to playing sports on the high school level. They've never been to college, and now you want to draft them to the NBA because they're good. Like I told my sons, in some cases, I don't think it's good personally. This is just my opinion. Everybody has their opinion. But my opinion was, I don't think it's good. Sometimes it's not about the money. They need an education. We're in a day and time where education is so important that sometimes your talents you can't rely on. And like I was telling them, what happens if he gets injured? There's your career. They don't want you anymore. They're going to trade you to somebody else, or you just don't play anymore. So you got a little bit of money, but you don't have an education. And the education is what's going to take you farther along than just that money, because that money is going to be spent and ran out. But you need an education to keep on making that money and keep it coming. So if you get injured, you get injured playing the game, and you're here drafted at 19 years old, from high school, 18, 19 years from high school straight to NBA because you're good at the game and you have no education. So we were just talking, and I thought it was a very good topic because, just for me as a mother, I would prefer you to get an education. I would at least want you to spend. And then I say, the thing about giving 1 year in college, I think that's what it was. And then you can, I guess, be drafted or whatever. 1 year is not enough. Most of the people know you go to 1 year of college, that's your freshman year, you're acting up, you're cutting up, you're really not even focusing. You really don't start buckling down until your sophomore year. So 1 year to me still is not enough because, my thing is we need education. Our black kids, you need education. That's what's going to get you further in life. That talent is going to get you as far as it's going to take you. But you need an education, you need a degree. So I thought that was one of the good hot topics, kind of like we talk. I feel like Wendy Williams right now, hot topics. But that was something that we were kind of talking about. And I thought it was a very good discussion to just get the side of listen to my sons and see how they feel about it in different things. And like one of my sons was saying, by going to college, it'll help some of them to better their skill, get better. I was like, because a lot of them, you may be a hothead in high school, but when you get to college, that's a whole nother ball game. You got to deal with people on different levels when you get to college, and you still focusing on your mentalities on high school. So if you got a comment about it, I would love to hear the comments of those of you who are out there, and just put your comments down there. at the bottom and just let us know what you like, if it's, your opinions. Cause I thought it was a good, we had a very good conversation. I thought it was a wonderful conversation to hear their feedback because, gifts and talents come without repentance, as the Bible say. And, the gifts are you get hurt, you get injured, you gone. You got the money. A lot of them need, my son was explaining to me how the NFL does it. Far as educating their players financially, getting them workshops. And I'm like, well, they need to do that in the NBA. They need to have classes in worship, teaching budget management, how to manage your money, who to watch out for, who to invest and not to invest in. If you're going to start drafting them young, you need to educate them so they won't get out here and get duped and get robbed in their money and finances and find out they're broke because they had to pay a manager. They had to pay all these other people, that trainers and bodyguard, all this stuff that they get when they get over there. So being educated, if you're going to keep them in college 1 year, make sure they take some business classes so they can understand the business side of the sport that they're getting involved. Not just, I'm here to shoot hoops and that's all I'm going to do. I don't need to understand all that stuff. I'll get somebody else to do it. That's not good. That's not good business. So, if you got a comment down there, throw it down there. Cause I thought it was a wonderful topic we had today. Me and my sons, we always have these good topics and conversations. But I thought that was a good hot topic to kind of talk about, to bring to light how important it is to when it comes to these sports that our young men are getting involved in, from football to basketball, baseball, so on and so forth. A lot of the comments that I got were men, which I know. But there were, most of them said, yeah, they should be drafted. And I'm thinking, I guess I'm looking at it as a mother's point of view. At 19, going to the NBA just because they have good skills. And yes, there are some players, as my son told me, there are some players who've done it and been successful. But everybody's not at that maturity level to be able to handle that. So I think it just depends on the family, the child, the team, the atmosphere that is around that should happen. So if you got a comment, just, put it down there, share what your thoughts is. I thought that was, a really good topic to kind of open up with this evening and kind of talk about what we're going to talk about. I get a lot of topics from my kids, my sons, from relationships on down, and we get into some in-depth conversations about a lot of stuff. And I guess I'm gonna start sharing some of them with you if they don't mind. But it's important to talk to our kids and listen to where they're coming from and what's going on. So, as I said, tonight, we're going to get into our topic for tonight. And our topic I posted was, hello, is that Melanie Harrison? How are you doing? Thank you for joining. If this is your first time joining, throw some thumbs up, some hearts, and let me know if this is your first time coming on, because I thank you for coming on. And tag some friends and tell them to come on and join us. The topic that I have for tonight was called Feeling Alone in the Pew. And I guess some of you are probably saying, why is that a topic? Why is that a problem? You know how we is here on Transformation. We just really being transparent, transparent of what we talk about. The scripture, I'm going to open up the scripture and then we're going to dive right on in and kind of talk about it. So if you have any comments, post them up, throw me your hearts and thumbs up. The scripture is coming from Jeremiah 29th chapter, verses 11. Also, I'm wearing my paparazzi jewelry. This is one of the necklaces that we have, if you can see. $5 bling jewelry. So if you're interested in some of the $5 bling jewelry, just hit in your comic session. I'll get back with you after the broadcast and let you know how you can get you some, host a party and get you some free jewelry. So we're coming from Jeremiah 29th chapter, verses 11. And it reads, "For I know the thoughts that I think towards you, said the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end." What I want to talk about was feeling alone in the pews, and that it is possible to feel alone in God's house. How many of you, those of you out there are single that are watching, you get to church and you wake up alone and you got to go to church by yourself. That's sometimes can be kind of testy after a while, because sometimes you want to be able to go with someone and you can enjoy the service with, and y'all can talk about it afterwards, and they're in that atmosphere with you, they're in that worship experience, and they're feeling it with you, and you got someone there that you can just kind of just did you feel that, you get that, the kind of thing. And when you're single, you don't have that. A lot of times, we're there by ourselves, and then when you get there, how many, you see, and just be transparent tonight. Let's be real. You see that couple that's in there that's all lovey-dovey and all huggy, or they just got married or they're dating and stuff, and you kind of get stinky face sometimes, and you kind of look at them cross the island and roll your eyes, and you say stuff under your breath. We all have been there. We all have done that, and and it's okay to feel that way. Because you're especially if you're a single person that is desiring to get married and desiring to be married, it can kind of get you in a funk. I worked retail for a very long time, and I would have those days, and I'm just being transparent. I would have those days I'm in the work, and unfortunately I work in the men's department. So I'm having to fit men and measure men and help them find stuff. And then you're doing that, and then here comes the wives, and they're giving you the eye and the look and all that crazy stuff. But, working in retail, you start to see, you see these couples coming in, you see them hug up and everything, and you kind of can get in a little funk. You kind of like start to say, okay, Lord, what's going on? Why I ain't met nobody? What's going on with me? Most of us, and we can raise our hands if you know this is you, or if you've seen it or done it before. Then you see a couple, you're like, how she get him? She does not. I know I look better than her. How did she end up with him? He is gorgeous. Or how did he get with her? Man, you start to say those things to yourself, and this is just being real. And you start to question yourself. You start to triage yourself. Well, what's wrong with me? Why I can't meet anybody? Okay, Lord, what's going on? I know I'm waiting, and I'm waiting on you, Lord, and I'm waiting, positive, and I'm being encouraged, and I'm doing all the single things that people tell us to do, the Christianese of being single. But a lot of times they don't tell you to be real. And being real is, I can get a little heartburn sometimes. I can get a little funky face sometimes when I see other couples and things like that, because I desire to be in a relationship, or I desire to have a mate and everything like that. So, for those of us who experience these issues of being single and wanting to get married, stuff like that happens, and it can take over. The emotions can take over, and it shows, your loneliness. And you're lonely, and it puts you in that place of loneliness. And so you're at church, and you're sitting there, and it can get you into a funk where you don't even, you lose your focus on why you're there. You lose your focus on prayer and worship and getting into the place of God. I've been there. I've done that. I've sat there, and I'm kind of like in my car going to church, and I'm looking on the passenger seats, and sometimes you wish that you had someone else riding with you, that you don't have to be going to the house of worship alone all the time when you're single. I know those of you out there that I say I don't have that problem, whether I'm talking to those who are out there that do have that problem, because we're being real and being transparent. The being real is we can get in that funk, and we can have that problem. But I wanted to encourage you tonight to don't lose focus. It was very, very hard for me, and it's just nothing but the grace of God and worship, which worship is my heart. I love to worship. Is to get in that place of worship. As Marvin Sapp said, find your place of worship. When you get there and you see the couples and you're there, and the funk starts to come, and you have to start to beginning to get into that relationship with God and begin to treasure that relationship that you have with God. A lot of times people say, well, you're lucky being single. You can go and do these things, and you don't have someone there. You don't have someone here. And and that is true. It's true. In a sense, you can do a lot of things when you're single, and you can serve the Lord more, like, a lot of people think when you're single. But a lot of us out there, you want to share with someone. Nothing is more important than memories. I'm a firm believer of memories and sharing things with people where those that you love. So having someone there, for a lot of us, you want someone to share the experience. You want them to share that worship experience. You want to share the baptized and deliverance experience that you receive when you go to church and you're looking at the seat beside you, and you're not looking at 4 empty seats beside you, and you got your Bible in one and the rest of them are empty. And then you look across the aisle and you got this couple over there and they all lovey-dovey and stuff. It happens. So just, to be transparent tonight and just say, we've been there. If you've been there, just throw your thumbs up and throw some hearts. Hey, Elder Cooper, good to see you. Good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. Thank you for joining. But if you've been there, it's okay. And if you have a way of getting out of it, share in your comments. Share in the comments. What did you do to get out of that funk? For me, like I said, it's worship. I really have to get myself focused and come in. I'm there for God. I'm there to worship. I'm there to praise God and then to open up and to allow God. And yes, like I said, being transparent, I get funky. I get mad. I get upset, but that's the human side of us. And God knows that's the human side of us. So you really have to stay focused in your praise and worship. You really have to stay focused, and seeing the couples, and then you do have to embrace it. Yours is coming, and you have to believe and trust God. And that is one of the hardest areas that a lot of single people have in trusting God. We can trust God in so many other areas. We can trust God in so many different things. When it comes to that relationship thing, man, it is very hard for many of us out there to trust God when it comes to relationship. So it's a process, and it's okay. And I'm here to tell you, it's okay. It's a process. God knows. And you start small and you work your way up to, little by little, when you start to let your hands off of that relationship thing. Because a lot of us is like, okay, Lord, I trust you with all this, but when it comes to relationship, I'm going to do it myself. I know who I like, and I know you're going to send me somebody, God, I really don't like. So let me pick this. And we know our pickings are not great. So we've been picking some bad folks. And the Lord is just sitting back saying, okay, well, when you get tired of picking and let me do what I need to do, then we'll be all right. So a lot of times we stand in our own way. We stand in our own way of God blessing us with someone. We don't want to go, hi, Kenny, thank you for joining. We don't want to go through the process of what we need to do to be able to get in a relationship. A lot of people carry baggage to relationships because we don't want to wait on God, and we carry all this baggage into relationships. So now ladies, especially us ladies, we have it bad. We'll take out on the new guy, and we'll take out on the guy that from what happened in the past relationship. And so God is saying it's not time. I need to deliver you from some things. I need you to be delivering, and I need to get rid of some things. I need to, as I always say here in Transformation, we peel the onion. That's our motto here. We peel the onion. God has to begin to peel the onion of some things in your life so that he can be able to do what he needs to do in your life when deliverance starts to happen. And a lot of us don't want to go through that process of peeling the onion. So God says, well, it's not time for me to send you a mate. I know you desire to have one, but I need you to work on your attitude a little bit. I may need you to work on your finances some more. You shop too much, you spend too much money. I can't put someone in your life and you spend all the money but now you're broke. I need your temper. I need you to get delivered from some bitterness and hurt and pain from your past so that you won't carry that into the newer relationship and damage this person in the newer relationship. And it's just as much as women, just as much as men. Men also can carry baggage to new relationships also. So God is saying it's not time. I need you to wait a little bit longer. I have someone for you, but there's some things I need to do for you, to you, in order to send someone to you. So don't feel bad. Be real with yourself and be real with God. That's my biggest thing. Be transparent. When you get in that funk and you seeing couples and you out at the mall and you shopping and you see all these couples lovey-dovey and you by yourself and you get that little funk spell come on, it's okay. begin to talk to God. Let him know, you know what, Lord, I'm not feeling this. But I do know I have to learn to trust you, and I'm trusting you with the small things. So I do need you to, I need you to work on me, Lord. Help me, deliver me. I'm a work in progress, because I know in due time and due season, you're going to send the person that you have for me. Some of us, he can't send because we're so strong headed. He can't send someone that we're going to run away. So it takes time. So when you're feeling alone in the pews, you're not alone in the pews. God is with you in the pews. There are other single people out there that feel the same way. And that's one of our biggest things we don't do, is we don't share with other single people how you really feel about this single thing. A lot of people we hear, they're saying, I was watching a Tyler Perry movie, and the lady was like, she asked the girl a question. She was just like, I'm in love with Jesus. Yeah, we all are in love with Jesus. He's my mate. Well, not really. He created someone for you, but we all love Jesus. So, we got to get to that point where, just be transparent. Just be transparent. Open up to some other singles out there that are in your ministry or that you hang out with, and let them know, girl, I get a phone sometimes because I get tired of seeing all these couples, and I desire a mate, and God hasn't sent me one. Sometimes it takes you speaking it out for God to begin to deliver and work on things, because then once you do that, he's going to start to reveal to you the things that you need to do. So that becomes very important. Very important. So, as I said, feeling alone in the pews, you don't have to be with someone to be happy. And we know that. God knows our hearts and our desires. He knows what we want. But he may need you to seek him a little bit more. Work in ministry a little bit more. Get involved. Follow your destiny. Work on what your calling is. Find your purpose in life. God has given you an opportunity to do all that. And that was something I even had to learn myself. I did not like being alone. And I tell you, even though I have kids, I get tired. I watch kids all day. I tell people all the time, I get tired of having a children's conversation. There are times when I would like to have adult conversations. There are times where you get tired of going to bed by yourself. And God started and began to work on me in those areas. And he's still working on me. But I thank God I've come a long way now that I'm able to see people in couples and not get upset and not feel funky, because sometimes you really don't know. People may look like they're happy, but you never know what goes on behind closed doors. And then I look at some of them, I say, oh, Lord, thank you, Jesus. I don't have to deal with that, because that attitude or that attitude, the way that person looks and act, God, you know what your child needs. So when you feel that way, when you're starting to feel alone in the pews, really, go out and do some outreach. Talk to somebody. Bring another sister, another brother to church, with you. Get involved in ministry. A lot of us don't get involved. A lot of people just go to church and leave, and they don't want to get involved. They don't want to be accountable. But maybe that's what God's trying to tell you. I need you to get involved. I need you to teach Sunday school. I need you to work the children's ministry. I may need you to usher. I may need you to do the parking lot committee. I may need you on the hospitality board. These are the things you can do to keep yourself from having to worry about not receiving someone. So these may be the areas that God is working on for you. So I hope that was a blessing for someone tonight. I just thought I would share that tonight, because a lot of times, as single people, we hear it all the time, especially in church. Oh, thank God you're single. You can serve the Lord and you can do all this stuff. Yeah, that's good and all. And that's what we're here to do. But to be real with you, I'm tired of going to church by myself. I'm tired of having to sit and listen to the word by myself. You have to be transparent with yourself and be real. Hi, Ramona. Thank you for watching. And be real. It's all about being real and transparent. Just be transparent with yourself. Sometimes you just gotta say, girl, you crazy. It's okay. I know you don't want to be alone, and it's okay. And it's okay. So, like I said, we just kind of open it up tonight. If you have something you want to share, I'm going to give you some time. We got a little bit of time, I think, left. Put your comments up there, thumbs up, your hearts. If there's something on your mind that you may want to kind of talk about, that's what we're here at Transformations, to help transform you from the inside out, from the things that you need deliverance, because deliverance is a process, but don't give up in the process. Another thing I heard today, I was kind of, when I was listening to it, was kind of like, oh, wow, that was good. I was listening to Steve Harvey this morning. He made a comment, and I should have wrote it down. God, I think it was something in reference to walking. He was talking about something, but it had to do with death. And I want to say death. Was it death? It was walking through, I think it was something like walking through death or something like that. And he was just talking about not sitting in it and keep walking through. A lot of times, things happen. We walking through life and walking through the process. And a lot of times we want to sit, we give up too soon. And I think that's what he was talking about as perseverance. We're going through, things are happening in our lives. We don't understand it. We're wondering why, Lord, why me? And we get in the middle and we're ready to give up. Don't give up in the process. Don't give up. The process is going to be hard, but on the other end, when you make it out on the other end, you're going to be able to look back and say, oh, Lord, I thank you that I stayed in the process. You start out off, okay, Lord, I want to be delivered. I need your help. I can't do this anymore. Deliver me, Lord. I'm tired. Okay. And the Lord is getting ready to do those things. Now he's taking you through the process. The process is not pretty. The process is not glamorous, and the process is not easy, because he's going to begin to show you for who you really are. You're going to look in the mirror and see your ugly, true self in the process, and it's okay. But don't get stuck in the middle. A lot of people get stuck in the middle of the process, and they give up, and they give up too soon. They give up on God. They give up on themselves. They give up. And they'll never make it out of the process because they have given up. They're mad because God had them to really reveal who they really was. God had taken them back to the place where they really need deliverance from. So they get stuck in the middle. It's just like a hallway. They get stuck in the middle of the process because they've given up. Don't give up in the process. Don't give up. Because God is at the end of the process. He is with you in the middle. He is with you at the beginning, the middle, and the end of the process. At the beginning, you go in, we're all gun-ho. And when the middle starts, we get there, we start to see things that we don't want to see. We start to have to deal with things that we don't want to deal with. We have to start to deal with mama daddy issues, hurt and pain, abuse, rape, bitterness, hatred, all these things that we have submerged down and covered up with issues, with things that look glamorous. We cover these things up. So we get into the middle and we give up. And we give up. Don't give up. God is with you in the middle of the process. You have to know God for yourself. Thank you, Ramon. That is so true. You have to know God for yourself. You have to get a relationship with God. And that is so important in these days and times. No one wants to get a relationship with God. They want to ride on everybody else's relationship. You can't ride on mama's relationship. You can't ride on great grandma's relationship. You can't ride on past relationship. You have to know God for yourself. And that is getting a relationship with God. That is spending time with God. That is how you get a relationship with God. How do you get a relationship with God? Spend time with God. Just like you're in a relationship with your spouse, you spend time with him. It's the same thing with God. Spend time with God. Spend time in prayer. Spend time in fasting. Spend time in reading your word. Spend time just sitting and having a conversation with God. Definitely number one thing is spend time in worship. It's when you get to know God for yourself. And when you begin and you know him for yourself, and as you're going through the process, you begin to remember the old scriptures that are reminding you, hang in there. God is with you. He has your back. He would never leave you or forsake you. It'll come up. But I know the process is hard. Many of us have given up in the processes or wanted to give up in the process. Get around people that are going to help push you through the process, who have your hand, because you're going to make it through. So don't give up during the process, because on the other end, it's your blessing. It's on the other end is what you've been asking God for all this time. Why give up? That's just crazy. You go through all these things and you get in the middle and you give up. You've been praying for all this stuff and it's sitting at the end of the darn hallway waiting for you to get it, and you done gave up in the middle. And it's just sitting there. And then what happens is like some of the board games. Oh, you done messed up, now you got to go all back to the beginning. You got to do this thing all over again. Who wants to keep doing this stuff all over again? Don't want to keep doing it all over again. I want to get to the end. I want to get down there to see what the end is going to be. Like the old mother said, I want to see what this is going to end. The end is going to be. I'm going to stay in this race as long as I can, because I know God is on the other end and my blessing is on the other end. And if he doesn't bless me with nothing else, I know he is able and he will do it if he doesn't give me nothing else. But I know he is able to do what he said he's going to do, as long as I trust in him and believe in him, so, don't feel alone when you're in the process. You're not alone, but you got to go through the process. You got to go through the process. A lot of people want to abort the process, but you have to go through the process because your blessing is on the other end. The person that you've been seeking and asking God for is on the other end of the process. So thank you for that. That was, thank you, Ramona. I like that. You have to know God for yourself. And that is so important. Get into worship, man. You get into worship, you begin to connect. That is so important. Salvation, the Holy Ghost, is all together. It's all important of getting to know who God is. We're in a day and time where so much is going on. In this day and time that we really need God, especially in the school systems. I don't know if there's any teachers on here or not, but especially in the school systems. And before we go out, I have a friend that's a school teacher, and I asked him, how do you feel about Trump talking about arming teachers, having teachers that have guns in the schools? And he was like, not a good idea, because some teachers get frustrated, some teachers get stressed out, and you don't want a teacher to take that out on someone else's child. So it's not a good idea. So, these are things that are happening in our society today. Now, you're talking about arming teachers. I mean, come on. How do you feel about that? Those of you who are listening, how do you feel about that? I don't think it's a good idea. I don't want my grandbabies in school knowing their teacher got a gun on her hip and a little kid make her mad, and she's got stressed out of something and, mad at her husband or children at home and come and take it out on the kids at school. That's just not good at all. That is a very good topic that we need to address. Something that really needs is our school systems. How to keep our children safe, how to protect our kids in school. Those of us, I got grandbabies that are in elementary school, so they got a long ways to go. Some of you on here have grandbabies, that are in high school or middle school or elementary school. How do you feel about that? How do we protect our kids? We send them to school, we trust that they're learning, and then they have to deal with people being able to enter the school, get in the school, and shoot up the school. We got to do something. We got to do something. When it's time to vote, people, get out there and vote. Vote, just vote. Not just for the main primary election, but vote for your judges, vote for your senators, vote for the law enforcement. When it's time to vote, go and vote. Because these are the people that we're putting in office, the judges. I tell my kids all the time, voting, when it's time to vote and it's time to vote for your judges, watch who these judges are. Because they're the ones that are passing these laws. They are ones that are letting people go free, because it's okay that you said you shot Trayvon Martin, you can go free, but then you want to send another person to jail for 20 years because she just shot off a gun. It's the judges that we keep putting in the office. So we really need to vote, when it's time to vote, not just for the presidential election, but we need to vote for all these other people that are sitting in the House and the Senate and then the judges and the police force, in order to get some of these laws changed. So it's very important, so if you got grandbabies out there, kids are in school, put some comments down there. We can discuss it on our next broadcast of how you guys feel, about it. how you feel about teachers carrying guns. It's crazy. It's crazy. So thank you, Ramona. Yeah, it's true. You know, we need to talk about a lot of this stuff within the church. We know everybody's going to say, and we know pray. When we're praying, people are praying, and we're doing what we're supposed to do. We're praying, but we still have to send our kids out to the school. We can't be, ignorant of what goes on in the world too. We can't be so, churchy that we don't know what's going on in society, and we're sending our children out and everything. So we need to really, talk about and discuss it, ways that we can figure out how to make our children safe. If it is metal detectors in the school. One thing I like about my grandbaby's school is that they have back doors to the classrooms. Most of them's like for the playground or when, be able to enter out. And I'm like, to a point that is a good idea, because if someone's coming into the school to shoot, they can get the kids out through the back doors to safety. So for some school systems that could work. I don't know about our high schools, because a lot of high schools got 2 floors, but a way that kids can get out, and be safe. So these are things we need to discuss. We need to discuss in school. There's so much I can sit here and talk to you guys about, of some of the things that's been going on in society. As I told you, this is kind of like a Wendy Williams hot topic night. Hot topic, because I was sitting there like, hello, Donnell. Nice to see you. I sit there and, I was like, Lord, there's so much that can be talked about that's going on in today's world as Christians, and we're praying. But there's other things that we can do, Also, one of my biggest things that I deal with is human trafficking. That is so, it's out there. It's more present than people really know. Human trafficking, sex trafficking of our young girls and our young boys. They go missing, but a lot of you don't realize they're being trafficked. They're being sex trafficked. You got truck stops, and they're being sold to truck drivers and different things. And there's so much going on. You may think, this young lady looks this way and acts this way because she thinks she's fast and hot. And a lot of times she's not. She's been trafficked. She's been abused. They're running away from home. These are topics that need to be talked about. These are things that go on right in the church. You'd be surprised how many young girls right in the church, and they're not there anymore. They've been raped, abused, been trafficked so much, and they're scared to talk to anyone because we don't open our ears to listen. We want to judge, and we have to be careful with that. But there's so much we can talk about tonight. So, or any other night. Any other night. And, I always say this is Late Night Chronicles with Pam, but I don't like keeping you guys too late. But, I love the interaction. I love the comments. I love when you comment and interact, because it lets me know you're being blessed and you're listening. And I always say it's not a one person's conversation, because something that you may say may bless somebody else that's listening or watching, so it's not just what I say, but it's also something that you may say, because we're all here to lift each other up and to encourage each other. So as the topic was tonight, for those of you just coming on, it was feeling alone in the pews. And we were coming from Jeremiah 29th chapter, verse 11. But I also just kind of had some hot topics I wanted to talk about and throw out. For those of you just coming on, we were talking about should high school basketball players be able to be drafted and sent to the NBA and not even go to college. So that was something we were talking about. We were talking about, as you know, about the children and the safety in the schools. That we were talking about that. And it's just so much out there that we can discuss. And I'm always open to talk about it if you want to talk about it. I have no problem with that. So, as I said, don't want to keep you long. Thank each and every one of you for joining and watching tonight. Darnell, you got to get on a little sooner. But I love you all. I love you all. I thank you for sticking with me. This is not easy, but I do what God says do. And if you are blessed, just put your thumbs up and put your hearts up and let me know. Keep me encouraged as I keep you encouraged. And like I always say, if there's something that you want to talk about, hit me in the comments section, and I would definitely, we can talk about on the next broadcast, and share this with someone. Share with your friends, your neighbors, co-workers, nieces, nephews. Let them know that we're on here. I'm on here. Love you too, Auntie. I'm on here. I don't mind getting deep down, dirty and ugly, because it's better for us to get deep down, dirty and ugly than keep covering up stuff. That's not helping people to get delivered and get set free. And that's what we're here for. Love you too, Ramona. So thank you all. Have a blessed and wonderful evening. See you guys on my next broadcast. I'm kind of trying to do something on Fridays. So just something fun. So if you would like to do something like that, just let me know. God bless you all. Love you all. Till next time. Bye-bye.